undermines proper planning and service delivery.
Under my leadership, budgeting will no longer be an exercise in financial engineering and distortion. It will be a service-oriented, results-driven endeavor to deliver services to our people.
Both further stressed the need to end post-mortem accountability where public funds are spent before parliamentary approval.
Accountability begins with us. In the next 5 years, we will hold the executive and other government bodies accountable. But we must start with ourselves. As they say, charity begins at home. We cannot hide from accountability of government resources, yet we expect it from other agencies and departments. That will not work.
He pledged to empower parliamentary committees to effectively execute their oversight role, saying committees remain critical in monitoring government programs and ensuring value for taxpayers' money.
We need not wait for public funds to be lost. Our committees should be facilitated to work, to monitor, intercept and protect resources in real time in order to propel every effort geared towards the tenfold growth.
Both commended President Museveni for entrusting him with the responsibility, promising to serve with diligence and integrity.
Let us appreciate that unobjective and ethical media are not our enemies, but the public's eye and ear. We must maintain a transparent, decent and open parliament. When we close our doors to the media, a negative perception is generated.
His remarks come at a time when Parliament continues to face public scrutiny over corruption allegations and concerns surrounding public expenditure management. Oboth won the parliamentary race after beating NUP's Paul Mwilu and DP's Norbert Mao by a difference of over 300 votes.
Quite an interesting dance there. President Yoweri Museveni has commended the 12th Parliament for conducting the election of the new Speaker and his deputy in a peaceful and transparent manner. However, the President issued a stern warning to leaders who fail to use government programs to help the people they serve fight poverty. He said he will not hesitate to dismiss ministers found to be incompetent in delivering on their mandate.
President Yoweri Museveni addressed the first sitting of the 12th Parliament on Monday, congratulating the newly elected Speaker, Deputy Speaker and MPs for conducting the process peacefully and transparently.
As President of Uganda,
speaking after the election of the two presiding officers, the President said the smooth exercise reflected the maturity of Parliament. He, however, raised concern over the handling of invalid ballots during the vote. Museveni questioned why the Chief Justice, who served as presiding officer, declared some votes invalid when the voters' intention was clear.
But it was clear that the man wanted to vote for or both, and also Taiyewa. So why declare that vote invalid? I need you to give me, because that's how I have been losing votes. If you check all these elections, you find that the spoiled votes are like 500,000, 500,000, and they are all NRM votes.
The President also pointed to the outcome of the vote as evidence of growing support for the NRM beyond its parliamentary caucus.
372 have been joined by others. That's how we got 441 for Honorable both, and 457 for Taiyewa. It is the NRM plus the independents plus some good opposition people.
Museveni expressed disappointment that Democratic Party's Norbert Mao and UPC's Sarah Akut remained in the race, arguing that their candidacy split support away from the NRM despite being in alliance with the party.
But those are also my votes because I'm in alliance with Mao. But he took away my 15 votes. Then my son, Akena, through the girl called Sarah, took another 14 votes.
Looking ahead to the new term, the president said he would take a firm stance against leaders who betray the trust of the people they serve. He vowed to dismiss ministers found to be failing in their duties.
And anybody who is a minister, if I come to your area and I find that you have not done it, I will sack you. There's no need why. It is because I'm polite. I don't want to embarrass people. Ministers are mature people. You talk thinking that they will. But if people don't care about their own people, why should I care about them?
Museveni also explained why he declined an invitation to attend celebrations for Arsenal's 2025-2026 Premier League win, saying his priorities lay with parliamentary business.
What is Arsenal? That it is a European club of football, that I don't know they have done what, and that I should go to celebrate. Celebrate for what? Please don't divert me.
The president also asked Ugandans to take precautionary measures against the deadly pandemic of Ebola.
Watching you shaking hands, hugging, but these people, do they know that there is Ebola? Me, I will not touch any of you. Sorry. Habari.
The 12th Parliament's first sitting marked the start of a 5-year term, with the election of the Speaker and Deputy Speaker among its first orders of business.
The 12th Parliament of Uganda has officially chosen its leadership following a marathon high-stakes election session at Kololo. In a day defined by intense lobbying and calls for fiscal transparency, NRM's Jacob Maxons Oboth secured a landslide victory to become the new Speaker of Parliament, crushing his opponents with a staggering 441 votes. Thomas Taiba successfully retained his position as Deputy Speaker after beating the opposition candidates with 457 votes.
In the face of the President of Uganda and the Chief Justice, the day opened at 10:14 a.m. with a formal proclamation of the clerk to Parliament, who read the election rules and verified the number of MPs present, and the Chief Justice, Flavian Nzesha, presided over the process.
It is hereby proclaimed that the first sitting of the 12th Parliament be held at Kololo Ceremonial Ground.
My role today is therefore strictly to oversee this process in accordance with the Constitution and the established rules of procedure of Parliament.
At 10:26 a.m., Vice President Jessica Alupo moved the motion to nominate Jacob Maxons Oboth for the speakership race. Former Minister Frank Tumwebaze seconded the motion, praising Oboth's competence. Chief Justice Flavian Nzesha, presiding over the session, called on Oboth, who gave a brief 1-minute acceptance speech.
Honorable Oboth Maxon Jacob, Member of Parliament, West Budama Central County, do take the chair of this Parliament as the Speaker. I beg to move.
Goal-oriented, even-tempered, resilient, and emotionally intelligent. Those characteristics will enable him easily command this august House.
That I accept this nomination to serve as Speaker of this august House.
The opposition quickly countered. At 10:42 a.m., Katika South Member of Parliament Hassan Kirmira nominated Paul Mwiru, highlighting his legal background and promising strict public scrutiny over parliamentary expenditure. Ginger City Woman Member of Parliament Sarah Luansasula seconded Mwiru, pledging tighter budget controls. A third candidate entered the race when Toch MP Okot Peter nominated DP President Norbert Mao to guarantee freedom of debate.
The Honorable Mwiru Paul, MP Ginger South Division East, take a chair of Parliament as the Speaker.
I take the singular honor to accept the nomination for the chair of the Speaker of the Parliament of Uganda. I thank you.
I, Norbert Mao, Member of Parliament for Laro Peche, hereby consent to my nomination.
Citing corruption concerns in the previous Parliament, lawmaker Ochen Godfrey attempted to suspend rules to inspect candidate credentials. However, Chief Justice Flavian Nzesha overruled the request, confirming 370 members present and ordering immediate voting by secret ballot.
To present their credentials, such that we are able to assess whether they meet the requisite governance qualities.
Voting for Speaker of Parliament began at 11:12 a.m. and closed at 47 past midday. tallying revealed immediate drama when 2 votes were declared spoiled. On one ballot, an MP wrote both Jacob Oboth and Thomas Taiwa, while a second paper bore Taiwa's name despite Taiwa only running for the Deputy Speaker race. In the final results, Paul Mwiru garnered 60 votes, Norbert Mao managed 15 votes, while Jacob Oboth swept the House with 441 votes, sparking wild celebrations from the inner benches. Escorted by Rebecca Tuala Kadaga and Prime Minister Robina Nabanja, both took the oath of office before President Yoweri Museveni. He received the instruments of power from the President that included the mace, the national flag and the Constitution before officially taking the Speaker's chair.
We can proudly say that the 12th Parliament of the Republic of Uganda has a new Speaker.
Both in the chair of the Speaker presided over the election of Deputy Speaker of Parliament. Oyam County MP Eunice Atuko Opio nominated Sarah Guti as anti-corruption champion. Shortly after, Bale County MP Charles Tebandeke nominated as Nancy Nyakato, backed by former leader of opposition Betty Ayolo Chan, who made an impassioned plea for gender balance in Parliament leadership. However, the ruling party maintained its momentum. Fiona Nyamtoro nominated Thomas Taiwa, citing his strong track record, with Buvuma Member of Parliament Robert Ndugwamigade urging the House to stick with the tested leader. Voting for Deputy Speaker commenced at 2:40 p.m. Out of 519 total votes cast, Sarah Aguti secured 14 votes, as Nancy Nyakato obtained 45 votes, while Thomas Taiwa emerged winner with 457 votes.
I, Thomas Taiwa, swear in the name of the Almighty God.
Now, excitement swept across Toro district as residents abandoned their daily routines and gathered in hotels, restaurants and trading centers to witness history unfold live from Kololo ceremonial grounds, where their own son, Jacob Oboth, was elected the 12th Speaker of Parliament. From tense moments during vote counting to wild celebrations after the final declaration, the district burst into singing, dancing and jubilations as Bugedi Sub-Region secured its first ever Speaker of Parliament.
Early as 7 a.m., residents of Tororo had already started flocking hotels and trading centers with television sets to follow proceedings from Kololo ceremonial grounds, where the election of the 12th Speaker of Parliament were taking place. At Sunrise Hotel in Tororo Municipality, hundreds of residents clad in yellow t-shirts squeezed into the venue with their eyes fixed on giant television screens broadcasting proceedings live on NBS Television. The hopeful locals had gathered for one reason: to witness their own son Jacob Oboth, the MP for West Budama Central, make history by becoming the first Speaker of Parliament from the Bukedi sub-region. As the tense vote counting process began, excitement inside the packed venue reached fever pitch. Supporters spontaneously joined the counting loudly, chanting Oboth's name after every vote read in his favor. And when the final declaration was made, confirming Jacob Oboth as the winner of the speakership race after garnering 441 votes, the crowds erupted into wild celebrations. In some parts of the district, traditional dancers took to the streets. The drums, whistles and songs filled the air in celebration of the historic victory. Speaking to the excited residents earlier, many described Oboth's rise as no surprise, saying his leadership, humility and long political experience had earned him trust both at Parliament and people back home.
He's a man of integrity, a man who is not corrupt. We can testify from the beginning of his election, he has risen up because he's very sincere and straight.
God made, God fearing, he has come. There's no doubt about him. We will help the president propel the parliament and the country to the highest tides.
He's a unifier. He's someone who can put youths together, and we surely believe that by him being there, we're all going to benefit as youths of Bukedi and Eastern Uganda.
However, beneath the celebrations lies enormous expectation. Many residents now hope that the speakership will translate into improved services and better recognition for Tororo and the wider Bukedi sub-region.
In the Bukedi, we are the ones who take the lead in the level of poverty. But now with the water boat, with the whole right honorable speaker,
we shall even bypass, I believe, the middle income status.
Let's now take a look at how MPs voted in Parliament's leadership election, starting with the 12th Parliament and the race for Speaker. Today, Jacob Oboth did garner 441 votes, and of course he's from the NRM. Norbert Mao, Democratic Party, 15 votes, and Paul Mwiru from the National Unity Platform, 60 votes. That's how it looked like today in the 12th Parliament. Paul Mwiru leading Norbert Mao right there, who only garnered 15 votes. Let's get to the 11th Parliament. In the 11th Parliament, we had Jacob Oulanyah from the NRM, who got 310 votes and was elected Speaker. Rebecca Kadaga got 197 votes, and Ibrahim Semjunganda got only 15 votes. Let's get to the 10th Parliament. Rebecca Kadaga went through with, of course, NRM ticket uncontested. For Deputy Speaker position in 2016, Jacob Oulanyah defeated Muhammad Nsereko, where he did get 300 votes, while Nsereko got 115. In 2011, in the 9th Parliament, Rebecca Kadaga was elected unopposed. Jacob Oulanyah was elected Deputy Speaker with 299 votes, beating Odonga Oto, who got 58 votes. In 2006, in the 8th Parliament, Edward Chuanka Sekandi from the NRM went through unopposed. And for the Deputy Speaker, let's take a look at how the MPs did vote today in the race. We had, of course, Sarah Aguti, UPC, who got 14 votes. Nyakato Asnansi, who got 45 votes, and Thomas Taiwa, who won from the NRM with 457 votes. There were 3 invaried votes, and the total number of MPs represented today were 519. Now, DP President Norbert Mao could be facing growing political uncertainty following his defeat in the race for Speaker of Parliament, with political observers arguing that he now risks political isolation after even the NRM, a party he has recently worked closely with, declined to back his bid. Analysts say that unless President Museveni retains him in government, Mao could face an even steeper political decline, with critics claiming his influence within Uganda's political landscape is steadily diminishing.
In February this year, DP President Norbert Mao declared interest in contesting for the position of Speaker of Parliament, a move many political observers linked to the cooperation agreement between the Democratic Party and the NRM government, where he currently serves as a minister. His announcement immediately stirred debate within political circles, especially after he was invited for the NRM retreat in Chankwanzi by the party President Yoweri Museveni, a development that fueled speculation over whether Mao was mounting a serious political challenge or simply seeking relevance within the ruling establishment. But when the NRM top leadership finally settled on its preferred candidate for Speaker, Mao was left out, reigniting questions about both his political standing and the future of the cooperation agreement he has repeatedly defended. DP's Richard Lumu says Mao's bid was not much about winning the speakership, but rather remaining politically visible before President Museveni.
Now done. There is no more politics of him to play. He has been playing politics to show the president that he's around. Now that politics is exposed.
The way I look at it is that he has been used as a pawn in the speakership race so that if there's any mudslinging in the campaign, he would be the one to get the mudslinging, not the preferred candidate.
Lumo, alongside political analysts, argue that the failed bid could signal the beginning of Mao's political decline, warning that once the president no longer sees political value in him, he could easily be sidelined.
He would have learned it from the history of DP and the NRM party. In 1986, when the DP had, when Museveni formed the unity government from all different political parties on agreement that he was supposed to rule for 4 years. When the 4 years elapsed in 1989, that cooperation agreement was not honored.
In my mind, I don't think now he needs him. He's finished.
Mao, however, has always insisted the cooperation agreement with the NRM remains valid, saying it provides room for continued political engagement and negotiation. He also revealed that he formally wrote to the NRM chairman Yoweri Museveni expressing interest in the speakership position under the framework of that agreement. However, some senior DP leaders, including Secretary General Gerard Siranda and his deputy Mukasa Ambide, maintain that the party was never consulted about Mao's decision to contest and the two did not declare support to him.
We actually read as a party each and everything from social media, including, of course, even his candidature.
Now some argue that the NRM's decision in the speakership race exposes how the ruling party truly views Mao and the cooperation agreement, with some urging him to reconsider his political direction.
But the NRMs are saying we don't need you. Today, they have shown him exactly what they think of him.
Cooperation agreement there, for them, they missed a point in that situation because it is now showing them that they were actually people who were self-seekers.
DP veteran member Waswadule says the cooperation agreement was flawed from the beginning, citing lack of internal consultation and long-standing concerns within the party.
I think the way the agreement was constructed in the first place, it was a weak agreement. It had the enforcement provisions were weak.
Political observers further warn that the Democratic Party continues to weaken internally, arguing that Mao's political future could become even more uncertain should President Museveni decide not to retain him in government.
But if they don't consider that and doesn't get anything from the government, I think that will be his exit.
If there is nothing more, he can be MP for Cheche, where Peche.
All right, let's throw some perspective onto that story. Joining us tonight is Timothy Chemonges, governance expert and executive director at Center for Policy Analysis, together with Honorable Gilbert Olanya, who is Member of Parliament, Kilak South. Gentlemen, many thanks for joining me tonight. Let's begin on Norbert Mao. Honorable Olanya, you saw how the Honorable Norbert Mao did perform with just 15 votes. Isn't that betrayal, especially for members of Parliament that do come from Acholi, who he expected to rally behind him?
Thank you so much, Canary. I would like to say that Mao was played. One, by President Yoweri Museveni and the NRM. You recall, Mao was very confident. He told Ugandans, and he assured Ugandans, that by tomorrow, he would be speaking like the Speaker for the 12th Parliament. Many of us were confident that it looks as if there is some backdoor negotiation between Mao and President Yoweri Museveni. Many people were comparing during the election of Kadaga and Jacob Olanya. Kadaga was very popular until the last minute when President Yoweri Museveni himself, because he had interest in the late Right Honorable Jacob Olanya, he called members of Parliament one by one. And in the following morning, I'm telling you, members of Parliament, when they arrived in Kololo, all of them were singing in the name of the Right Honorable Jacob Olanya. And Honorable Jacob Olanya had to win. But with this, we look at it that Mao was being played. President Yoweri Museveni promised him, but there came a time that he betrayed Mao.
Honorable, the 12th Parliament that you're now part of does inherit a tainted Parliament, a tainted image of Parliament. How do you hope this should be cleaned up? What are your suggestions?
I'm telling you the truth of the matter is that 11th Parliament was the worst Parliament so far. It tainted our names. And as we move now, as members of Parliament, wherever you go out of the country, people look at you like a mafia, like a thief. In fact, our name were tarnished. The way forward, the Right Honorable Jacob Oboth and Thomas Taiva, they must work very hard to clean our name. When they're coming to clean the name of Parliament, they should first start by tackling the corruption in Parliament. I am happy that the Right Honorable Jacob Oboth in his maiden speech, he stated clearly that he is going to fight corruption up to zero level.
Timothy, let me come to you. Now, 12th Parliament is fully constituted. What do you think awaits Speaker and his deputy?
I think that it's what you've just asked, around the image, the position of Parliament in the lives of people, but also, more importantly, looking at the challenges that 11th Parliament has faced, questions of corruption, questions of abuse of office, but also, more importantly, because the roles that Parliament exercises seems to be extremely important, yet greatly compromised. And that I think that Parliament, as it is today, seems to have a very bad image in the public. That it's an institution that simply for legitimizing decisions by the executive. And so I think that the maiden speech by the Speaker, I think, seems to have already identified that the challenges that Parliament is facing, the question around corruption, issues to do with capacity of members of Parliament. I think that most of them seem to significantly understand their role and how to go about it. Good enough, they are going to go through the induction sessions. Hopefully, those are part of the process of ensuring that their capacity is built. But also, more importantly, I think that Parliament in the past seemed to have, measured on the minors and minored on the majors. There are things that Parliament ideally should not be focusing on, yet it fundamentally creates a picture of what it looks like. And so as the 12th Parliament starts, our hope is that they are going to steer well how they move forward.
Right. There's another issue that you probably could have left out, to the quality of debate. When you look at how some members of Parliament are, you might think that Parliament is only dominated by about 15 or 20 members of Parliament, while others just sit in there and be quiet, because some fear to debate, perhaps because of the quality of debate. How do you think this can be addressed?
I think that members of Parliament, good enough, I think that most of the MPs, we see that they are fresh and probably very, the energy is there to ensure that they're able to express the issues of their constituents. I think that first and foremost is ensure that they're inducted well, they are given the capacity, but also more importantly, when that time comes, they are provided with the opportunity. And again, the challenge that we faced in the 11th Parliament and probably the previous parliaments, sometimes who speak largely depends on who the eye of the speaker gets to see. I think that creates a bit of selective submissions on the House. So as the 12th Parliament comes on board, the hope is that each member of Parliament is able to acquaint themselves with how to go about with Parliament, provide with capacity building really and understanding the procedures, the nitty-gritties of Parliament, so that even when they are submitting, even when they are engaging, it's something that contributes to the discussions, but also aspects on how the final product looks like. But also, more importantly, I think that the leadership of the 12th Parliament must steer clear politics in the House. I know it's a political space, right, but the politics seems to override any other thing. As 12th Parliament comes on board, I think that the leadership has a very critical role in terms of steering the discussions of the floor of Parliament and on the kind of matters being looked at. Right.
Honorable Olanya, the independence of the institution of Parliament is quite important as we get to the 5 years of the next Parliament. What must leadership of Parliament do to ensure independence of the legislature?
The leadership of Parliament must put it very clearly to the President and the people in the higher authority that they must give time for Parliament to act independently. I'm telling you, in the 11th Parliament and any other Parliament, it looks as if Parliament is not all that independent. Because anything which is not being supported by the President, automatically Parliament will not support. Anything that Parliament is doing, there must be consultation from the President and other authorities. So let the presiding officers talk to the President, the head of the executive, talk to the ministers, let Parliament be totally independent. And the presiding officers must listen to the views of the opposition. Uganda is a democratic country. That is why there's democracy in this country. So the views of the opposition must be respected.
Honorable Anya, my last question to you is, you've been a member of the 11th Parliament. What is that one thing you will live to regret about it?
I will regret about the corruption which was taking place in Parliament. I'm telling you, the way finances were being used was quite dangerous. And for the committee, wherever you are doing the work, wherever the committee comes up with the report, for example, when we are passing the budget of the ministries, the committee members must be given money by those ministries. Without giving money to honorable members, your budget will not pass. But simply because the presiding officer was supporting the ministries for giving money to honorable members of parliament to do the work. So everything was monetarized. Without money, members of parliament were not working, which was very bad precedent. We are being voted by our voters to represent them. Therefore, Parliament pays members of Parliament monthly, and we should learn to be satisfied with the little we get. So I really regret the level of corruption which was going on in the 11th Parliament.
Timothy, my last question to you will be, there is, of course, unfinished work from the 11th Parliament that will be transferred to the 12th Parliament. How can this new Parliament handle this backlog without affecting its own schedule?
I think that the Parliamentary Commission really must be able to align and prioritize what is important. Good enough, I think that there are matters that need to be handled before the Auditor General, especially for the accountability issues, before they are presented before Parliament. I think there is time, but prioritization comes key, but also ensuring that committees are well financed, committees are provided with support to ensure that they're able to execute their mandate. Because you see, close to 70 or 80% of the work happens in the committees. And if these committees are not supported, if these committees are not provided room to exercise their mandate in an independent way, it affects the deliverables. And so I think that the leadership of Parliament has to set it clear in terms of how they move forward, in terms of what kind of business and the priorities. I think that will go a long way.
Timothy Chemongez, many thanks for speaking to us tonight, and many thanks to you, Honorable Gilbert Olanya. Let's take a look at your feedback on our opinion question.
Feedback brought to you by. They are designed to support your growth. Visit absa.co.ug for personal loans that help where it matters. ABSA, your story matters.
All right, let's get into the question tonight. What, in your view, should be focus for the 12th Parliament? Hashtag NBS Live at 9. Let's get the first comment coming in right there from Gabriano Joseph Kasen. And he says, 1, to fight corruption within themselves. Number 2, to emphasize on service delivery, especially on PDM program by MPs going to their constituencies and visit parishes. Number 3, look at priorities: roads, health issues, security issues, and East African integration. Vidi Godfrey says, we need a parliament that's accountable to its citizens, a corruption-free parliament. We need integrity, transparency, and trust all restored in this parliament. Media houses should be allowed to cover parliamentary proceedings without favoritism. There is no room for excuses. Derek Aim Taima says, electoral and governance reforms, trust in institutions matters. The 12th Parliament could strengthen confidence through electoral reforms, clearer campaign finance rules, stronger local government accountability, and protections for civic participation and media freedom.
More to come, brought to you by
blended pure vegetable cooking oil, second best to a mother's love.
Opposition MPs have welcomed the outcome of Parliament's leadership election, saying it shows growing unity that could strengthen their voice on issues affecting Ugandans. Now that's very much more coming up here on NBS Live at 9. Stay with us.
Sorry, the number you have called is currently switched off. Please try again later.
The Kamani is not picking up my calls. He has now switched off his phone. He looked legit, so I paid him 500K to process my NSSF money. How dare you!
Carrying cash can be stressful. The I&M Bank multi-currency prepaid card makes paying smart and simple. Load and spend confidently in 9 currencies: Ugandan shilling, Kenyan shilling, Tanzanian shilling, Rwandan franc, Indian rupees, United States dollar, British pound, euro, and South African rand. Enjoy safe, simple payments wherever you go. The I&M Bank multi-currency prepaid card is open to everyone, whether you have an I&M Bank account or not. Get yours today and pay confidently worldwide in 9 currencies.
I&M Bank Uganda Limited is regulated by Bank of Uganda. Customer deposits are protected by the Deposit Protection Fund up to 10 million shillings. Terms and conditions apply.
I&M Bank, on your side.
There's a new way to keep your breath fresh all day. Introducing Movit All Day Toothpaste, meant to give you powerful night gum defense and teeth whitening. The charcoal flavor gives you deep cleansing and power stain removal. And the herbal delivers natural strength for healthy, confident smiles. Choose Movit All Day Toothpaste and enjoy freshness all day.
In a world that's always changing, the foundations of trust must stay strong. For over 60 years, we've built the minds that build trust, shaping the professionals who carry confidence into boardrooms, communities, and lives. Because trust doesn't happen by chance, it's built, tested, and taught. As the world moves forward, so do we, blending data, innovation, and human insight to prepare the next generation of industry leaders.
Insurance Training College in Uganda, enhancing professionalism.
For decades, ticks and tick-borne diseases have cost Uganda and Africa billions in livestock losses, reducing milk production and draining farmer incomes. Today, Uganda is changing that story. On April 30th, 2026, President Museveni officially launched Uganda's first locally developed anti-tick vaccine, Narovac, a first of its kind in Africa and only the second in the world. His Excellency also commissioned a state-of-the-art vaccine production facility fully funded by the government of Uganda. Developed by Ugandan scientists at the National Agriculture Research Organization, NARO, using advanced recombinant technology, the vaccine equips cattle's immune systems to fight ticks from within. As the president put it, the cow now kills the tick. With over 93% effectiveness and a production capacity of 36 million doses annually, Uganda is now positioned to protect its 16 million cattle and lead the region in veterinary innovation. This is more than a vaccine. It's proof that Africa can develop solutions to African challenges. Narovac, a Ugandan innovation transforming livestock farming. NARO, innovating for sustainable agricultural transformation.
Time to hear from the opposition, and it is opposition members of parliament that have welcomed
the outcome of Parliament's leadership election, saying it shows growing unity that could strengthen their voice on issues affecting Ugandans. In the speakership race, Paul Mwiru and Norbert Mao secured a combined 75 votes. More than 55 MPs are currently held by the National Unity Platform and Democratic Party combined, with NUP at 49 and DP at just 6.
The 12th Parliament held its first sitting at Kololo Independence Grounds with the election of House leadership. Nearly every opposition bloc turned out in full force, and even before voting began, they were mobilizing MPs to back NUPU's Paul Mwiru for Speaker. In the race for Speaker between NUPU's Paul Mwiru, DP's Norbert Mao and NRM's Oboth, Mwiru garnered 60 votes and Mao 15. Of the 80 opposition MPs across NUP with 49, UPC with 12, FDC with 9, DP with 6, PFF with 2, and ANT 1, 75 voted for either Mwiru or Mao. Despite losing, the opposition contestants say they were satisfied, arguing that they showed a new level of unity among opposition parties.
That unity has been a message to show that as opposition, this is our viable alternative. This is what we stand for. We've been beaten by the numbers, but this is the person we've offered.
But I'm happy to report that even if we were on a sick, we operated almost like commandos.
I don't care because, first of all, we are the majority, and two, there are even those few non-NRM who voted our candidate of NRM.
The MPs also highlighted remarks by newly elected Speaker Jacob Maxons Oboth, who pledged to preside over Parliament with fairness and integrity.
Recruitments were done on phone. Other people who are not qualified were recruited in Parliament. So it should begin by cleaning up the recruitment in Parliament, looking at the contracts being awarded in Parliament.
See the independence of Parliament be restored. We want to see the people-centered Parliament that we have been thinking become a reality.
Zero tolerance to corruption is what we want, especially us who have been hearing issues with Parliament. We don't want to enter our names with the Parliament that is corrupt.
During today's election, Kalungu East MP Yusuf Chiluluta Nkeretanyi surprised colleagues by nominating Maogola North MP Sodo Aine Kaguta, the president's brother, for Deputy Speaker of Parliament, even though PFF's Asinansi Nyakato was also in the race.
I stood as an advocate for him. Maybe that since decisions are made from the family, however much we have a candidate, maybe it's a high time you people think about this person from the same family such that they take up all the positions.
Uganda's politics never stops giving up on surprises. Ugandan universities are under growing pressure to abandon theory-based teaching and urgently adopt practical skills training before the first learners under the competence-based secondary school curriculum join higher education institutions, and that is this very year. Education's warned, it is education it's warning on Monday that institutions that fail to reform risk producing graduates who are unemployable and disconnected from the labor market.
Speaking during the launch of the Pledge Agriculture Training Project at the National Council for Higher Education, the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Education and Sports, Kedres Turiagenda, said universities must immediately align with Uganda's competence-based curriculum reforms introduced in secondary schools in 2020. The first cohort of learners under the new curriculum is currently completing Senior 6 and is expected to join universities and tertiary institutions next year.
We want tangible results, not theory, not results on a piece of paper, but the capacity to do something. So these universities which are partnering in the Pledge project are lucky. They are going to get hands-on training.
The Executive Director, National Council for Higher Education, Professor Mary Okwakwol, said higher education institutions can no longer rely on theoretical instruction while the world faces rising unemployment, climate change, insecurity and rapid technology disruption. She said the Council has already issued standards for implementing competence-based education and has conducted 5 regional training sessions for university trainers across the country.
Across the world, nations are facing challenges related to climate change, unemployment, food security, environmental degradation, and rapid technological transformation. These realities require us all to rethink how we teach, how we conduct research, and how we prepare learners for the future.
The Vice-Chancellor, Mountains of the Moon University, Pius Coxwell Achanga, said the current university training system has failed to adequately address youth unemployment despite decades of producing agriculture graduates.
What we expect that they should spend more time getting real life experiences as opposed to theoretical. They must spend time in active value proposition in learning.
It is the Ministry of Health that has confirmed that Ebola virus disease has now reached Kampala after 2 additional cases, both Ugandans, involving health workers employed at a private health facility tested positive. According to the ministry, 2 patients have been admitted to a designated treatment unit where they are currently receiving medical care. In a statement released by the Director General, Health Services of the Ministry of Health, Dr. Olaro Charles, contact tracing is already underway, with response teams identifying and documenting everyone who may have interacted with the confirmed cases for close monitoring. The confirmation of the new infections brings Uganda's total number of Ebola cases to 7 within just 5 days. The detection of cases in Kampala, the country's capital and most densely populated urban center, has raised concern among public health experts, prompting renewed calls for heightened vigilance among residents. The Ministry of Health is now urging members of the public to immediately report anyone showing symptoms consistent with Ebola virus disease to the nearest health facility. Now, the head of the Public Service and Secretary to the Cabinet, Lucy Nachove, has warned prosecutors attending the Prosecutors Symposium 2026 against yielding to political influence and financial interference while executing their duties. While presiding over the opening of a week-long symposium, Nachove condemned instances where prosecutors allegedly side with criminals instead of upholding justice and professionalism.
With hundreds of prosecutors convening in Kampala for the Prosecutors Symposium, guest of honor Lucy Nachove, the Secretary to the Cabinet, struck a stern tone, warning against corruption and unprofessional conduct among prosecutors. The conference, under the theme Enhancing Professionalism for Responsive Prosecution Services, is designed to explore key avenues for collaboration.
That justice delayed is justice denied. So, equally important, justice manipulated is justice destroyed. Don't go there behind in your chambers and you manipulate justice. So one of the greatest threats to professionalism in the prosecution services is corruption. That is the greatest challenge in Uganda today.
The Director of Public Prosecutions, Lino Anguzu, emphasized the importance of professionalism among prosecutors.
Public prosecution must therefore be part of the national development story or agenda. A country cannot grow if crime is allowed to weaken communities. A country cannot attract investment if corruption, fraud, land grabbing, cybercrime, trafficking, theft, violence are not family and fair members.
Anguzu linked effective prosecution services to the government's development agenda, including the 4th National Development Plan and the country's ambition to achieve tenfold economic growth by 2040. Anguzu further challenged prosecutors to reflect on whether they are handling their responsibilities professionally, reminding them that every case file represents real people and real consequences.
We cannot ask the public to trust us merely because we hold these offices and these titles. Trust must be earned, and we earn the public trust by the way we receive people at our offices, the way we communicate with witnesses, the way we resist corruption.
United States Secretary of State Marco Rubio says the U.S. and Iran negotiators have a pretty solid thing on the table, end of quote, and a deal to end the war between the two countries may be reached on Monday. He was speaking after President Donald Trump said that he had instructed negotiators, quote, not to rush into a deal, end of quote, after earlier suggesting one was close. It is reportedly involving a 60-day ceasefire extension, reopening the Strait of Hormuz, and a plan to further negotiations over Iran's nuclear program. Oil prices did fall sharply, and Asian stock markets rose on Monday on hopes of an agreement. Iran's Foreign Ministry spokesperson Ismail Beghei said the weekend that had two sides that were both very close and very far from reaching an agreement. According to U.S. media, the mooted deal is not a final statement and instead leaves some of the thorniest issues to be negotiated later, including the scope and timing of Iranian sanctions relief, the release of frozen Iranian funds, and Washington's demands for Iran to curb the nuclear ambitions. The United States and Israel launched wide-ranging strikes on Iran. It was on the 20th of February, sparking conflict across the Middle East. Iran responded by attacking Israel and U.S.-allied states in the Gulf and effectively closed off the Strait of Hormuz. The move sent oil prices soaring globally. Shortly after a ceasefire was agreed in early April, the U.S. established a blockade of Iranian ports, which Trump says will remain in full force and in effect until an agreement is reached, certified, and signed off. That's very much in our international news. And in our top stories, Jacob Maxson Zobothobot has been elected the 12th Speaker. Speaker of the 12th Parliament, and Taibwa Satni named his deputy. The new Speaker of Bothobot vows a corruption-free, people-centered Parliament. And President Yoweri Museveni warned ministers who fail to fight poverty, saying they will be dismissed. He also said focus should not only be on Arsenal. Mr. President, we'll have a conversation on that.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. Please fasten your seatbelts. We're in for a thrilling ride. Flight time will be non-stop until the buzzer, and we'll be cruising above the rim. Temperature on the court will be hot, with unexpected cold moves. Cabin crew, we're cleared for Season 6 tip-off. It's takeoff time. BAL, rise with the game.
Yeto inagafumba. You got Glovo. Oinacheweta gamukataleto fayo. You got Glovo. You can order what you want. You can get what you need. You got Glovo. You got it all. Order Glovo and receive it in minutes.
How do you make a party? You take time to prepare, to bring all the pieces together, to craft it right. The result, great refreshment. And that makes it time well spent. Club, brewed longer for longer refreshment.
Cooking all that makes food sweet. Tastes so good like mama's keys. Sweet Tamasana, yeah. Stir gold, it's the oil you need for a tasty meal to live a healthy, happy life. Stir gold, refined, fortified, blended pure vegetable cooking oil, second best to a mother's love.
Your uncle wants you to get a loan. He says you should buy a Beamer to stop embarrassing him in front of his friends with your malnourished car. That you should buy one of those expensive shirts they call Versace, so that people stop spreading rumors that his family has no style. That you need an iPhone because he's tired of biting his tongue whenever he tries to pronounce that funny thing you're holding. Good thing you've got ABSA. Our loans are not designed for others to change what they say about you. They are designed to support your growth. Visit absa.co.ug for personal loans that help where it matters. ABSA, your story matters.
Mustafa, Chikozi, welcome home. It is small, but it is something. Everyone starts from somewhere. Welcome home. Chikozi, the problem is the foundation.
You know the kind of cement I'm using in this foundation? I guarantee you even my grandchildren will come and find this house.
Muzaffaru, the day I decide to build, in fact, I will import the foundation into the country. By the way, your security lights, they are very small. Me, when I build my house, I will put the motion sensor.
As you can see, the living room, I managed to bring in some tiles.
And I told you, when I build my house, I get tiles from Italy raw, bring them here, original. This nonsense of having one TV. Me!
Some people talk about building houses. Others build them. Do you have land?
I am working on it.
You buy your buy today and get the job done. Strong, reliable, available at hardware shops countrywide.
Yes. It hasn't been easy at all.
know.
But with your buy, chiba chibwa.
So you buy, your buy.
Oh, chirabi.
Start something new, something uplifting, something so effortless and golden. A thirst-quenching burst of sweetness and multi-flavor, so rich and full of memories. It's 100% taste, zero alcohol. Try it, savor it, feel it elevate every moment. Sip after sip, gulp after gulp. After all, life's about turning ordinary thrills into golden chills.
Start something malty with the new Evervest Malt Apple and Pineapple. Try the burst of sweetness and malty flavor. It's 100% taste, zero alcohol. Available in a shop or supermarket near you. Evervest Malt. Make every moment golden. Evervest Malt is from the makers of PepsiCo.
Somchara.
Yes, Daddy.
You know the children are going back to school and things are a bit tight. For now, why don't you take half of the fees to junior school, and for the school van contribution, we shall pay later.
Daddy, why don't we pay using MTN Momo, where we stand a chance of winning school fees for a whole year and more? By the way, you can also apply for a school fees loan, and also participating schools can win a school van.
That's right! Win school fees for a whole year and more. Get Momo goodies and a school van for participating schools. You can also apply for a school fees loan. Simply dial *165 *80# or use the Momo app.
Business Pulse, brought to you by
Welcome back. Let's have a look at business, economies, and your money as well. Now, East Africa's economies are outpacing much of the continent, but national budgets are eroding the single market they're meant to strengthen. Economists warn that the EAC partner states are undercutting each other for foreign direct investment through tax breaks, selective incentives, and uncoordinated fiscal policies that fragment the regional market. As governments finalize the financial year 26 and 27 budgets, The economists say that businesses still face uneven excise duties, levies and tariff exceptions that drive up the cost of cross-border trade and weaken both the customs union and common market.
East African Community remains one of Africa's fastest growing regional blocs, with the International Monetary Fund projecting growth of 5.6% in 2026, above the continental average of 4.3%. Trade volumes are also rising steadily. According to the East African Community Quarterly Statistic Bulletin, total trade increased from $124.9 billion in 2024 to $156.6 billion in 2025. But despite this momentum, the intra-EAC trade still accounts for only 12.3% of total trade, highlighting a major gap between the region's economic potential and the reality of limited internal market integration. Economists say part of the problem stems from growing competition among EAC partner states for foreign direct investment, with regional governments increasingly using tax exemptions, preferential incentives, and country-specific fiscal measures to attract investors.
Because when we align our budgets with the broader aspirations under the EAC regional integration, it means trade will work for all, investment will work for all. But because of individualism, we see that there is competition for investors. They are deferring tax rates. We have now the industrial levy that featured prominently last year as instituted by Tanzania, among others, but also the differing value-added tax rates.
When we met the president of Tanzania, she was pursuing investors that please you come and invest in Tanzania. We're having this and this. But we should know that what can Tanzania do better? Comparative advantage. What can Uganda do better? So that we avoid those direct competitions. But you find that most of the products manufactured almost are the same in these East African countries. So that protectionism and competition cannot be avoided. But what we should do, we should strategize.
While such policies may deliver short-term national gains, unless one, that they are weakening regional integration by creating uneven business environments and distorting competition within the bloc.
They are not explicitly saying that don't bring your products, but they are using flimsy trade standards regulations to impede entry. Sometimes you have customs procedures that are cumbersome, so they just make people give up. It takes too long to go through the customs procedures. This could be immigration checks that are manual in nature and so on and so forth. Sometimes you have roadblocks and levies.
Well, let's see how your investments are doing, particularly if you decided to invest in the stock markets today. Now, Airtel Uganda, pretty stable. A lot of our stable stocks, actually. Batu, Bobu, stable. DFCU, pretty stable. Centum Investment went up 3.72%, selling their shares at 396.58. That went up there. East African Breweries Limited also edged up higher at 0.44%, selling their shares at 7,107.75, while the rest of the stock seems pretty stable and unchanged throughout the day. Those are our stocks. Now, the shilling came under sustained pressure as strong global US dollar bolstered by safe haven demand coupled with elevated domestic demand mainly from the energy sector that created a depreciation momentum that drove the unit to almost 3,800. But for now, it's standing at 3,765.71, buying at the dollar, selling at 3,775.71. While the shilling is expected to remain somewhat cushioned by healthy end-month flows, markets are cautiously tracking global events, Ebola outbreaks, outbreak and are keenly looking at the domestic data that is expected to show a spike in May inflation, and as a result, a moderately bearish stance will hold in the coming weeks. That's why you're seeing there the euro buying at 4,384.04, selling at 4,396.44, while our regional currencies, the Kenyan shilling, pretty stable at 29.03 and 29.16, while the Tanzanian shilling 1.42 and 1.46 respectively. That's our Forex